Today we're going to be looking at feudal society. If we think back to last class, we learned about this term feudalism. Feudalism provided structure and offered masses of protection. And as a result of this system came a strict social order. And we're going to start by examining what that social hierarchy looks like. Let's look on the left-hand side of this slide to see who makes it up. Typically, this would be in a larger pyramid, but for right now where we're breaking it down, I think it's good to have this larger layout to visualize everything. So we have monarchs, nobles, knights, and serfs. Monarchs are made up of kings and queens. So a king or queen may have an expansive territory that needs to be watched. So the monarch will give land, which is also known as a fief, to nobles to control. A noble is either a lord, a baron, or a duke. And the noble will swear an oath of loyalty to the monarch in exchange for the land. This loyalty in this exchange means that in case the monarch or the king or queen ever needs to go to war or they need anything, they can call upon the nobles and use their knights to support whatever battle they need to fight in. We also see this term below called vassals. That's just another way to show who controlled the land. So the monarch's vassal would be the noble. Additionally, the nobles collect taxes, and those would be paid off to the monarch. Below the nobles, we have the knights. They're skilled warriors. Nobles divide their fief of land amongst several men to create a standing army. It's very important, especially because there's always an opportunity or the possibility that a manor could be raided. And so you need those knights as standing protection. And finally, below the knights, we have the serfs. Serfs are also peasants, and they are tied to the land. They work the land for the nobles in exchange for protection. And whatever they're working or tending to, whether it's grain or wheat, the surplus will always get kicked back up to the nobles. So we have monarchs, nobles, knights, and peasants, or serfs. And this right here is that pyramid that I was talking about. We're going to be referring to this throughout Unit 1. So at the very top, we see the king. Below the king, we have the lords. Lords are vassal to the king. Below the lords are the knights. They provide the military service. And they also protect the peasants who are on that bottom level. In exchange, the peasants farm the land and they also pay rent. So this is just another diagram of the feudal system. So we can see how there's an exchange. So the king will grant land to the lords also grant land to the knights, and then the knights are granting land to the peasants. So it all trickles down. But we can see how the peasants provide food and services to the knights. The knights will protect, they'll provide protection and military services when called upon. And the lords will provide the king with money that they're collecting and also knights if need be. Now we can look at the strengths and weaknesses of this social hierarchy. So yes, it did provide a sense of structure during a period of chaos. That would have been the fall of the Roman Empire. It was based on granting land in exchange for military support. So again, that's how you're getting these standing armies. And serfs could farm the land on the manor in exchange for protection under the noble, so they could avoid being kidnapped or captured. But there are also significant weaknesses that we're going to identify. The first one being that the nobles could challenge the monarchs, and that would lead to warfare. The strength of the monarch was only as secure as the loyalty of the noble class. So if the noble class started to rebel or if they weren't paying their taxes, that would really crumble between the monarch, and the entire pyramid could be depleted. And another issue is that fiefs, we think back to that, the land itself could become so small that it might not even support the manor.